Hey guys, I couldn't help but notice that Lowko forgot doing his YouTube introduction again. Is anyone else missing it?
I was just looking at a bunch of the YouTube comments, and it seems like a lot of you are missing the classic Lowko introduction, okay? I personally am not really missing it, but just like Christmas, today is a special day. Okay, you ready for it? Are you sitting down? Do you have yourself a drink? Because it's gonna be good, okay? I'm gonna try my very best. Here it comes. Hello everyone, my name is Lowko, and welcome back to a professional match of StarCraft 2. Now what I've got for you today is a Terran versus Protoss. It's a best of 5 series, and in game number 1, we find ourselves on Death Aura. Here's the thing, guys. Most of the time, whenever I make my YouTube, videos, I end up having to do the introduction, like the first minute or so of the video, like 4 times, because for some reason I stumble over my words. It probably has to do with the fact that I like to record these early in the morning, and, usually those are the first words I'm saying, right? I try and do a little bit of voice warm-up and all that as well, but oftentimes I'm kind of stumbling. And the thing is, if I shout into the microphone, not only am I waking up the neighbors, which I may very well be doing anyway. I mean, they've never asked me, so, I hope I'm fine there. But also, it's probably not a great idea for my voice to be that loud. So I'm gonna bring it back every once in a while, okay? But I can't promise to do it every single video. Regardless, spawning here in the bottom right-hand corner of Death Aura and playing with the blue Protoss probes, we have none other than Zest. His opponent in the opposite corner with the red Terran SCVs, he goes by the name of ByuN. Alrighty, so here we go, a top-level game of Terran versus Protoss. ByuN, of course, ridiculously good Terran player. This guy on Aligalek is actually currently 1 point behind Marauder, who is widely considered to be the best Terran in the world. Although, as of me making this video, it's actually Mr. Clem who's sitting in that first place position when it comes to playing with the Terran pieces. Zest, of course, always a... Oh, alright. Always a cheeky boy. This man loves going for very timing attack focused builds. I've been making a joke for a little while on stream that if you want to be really good at playing Protoss, you should have a look at Stats' build orders, but if you actually want to win, you should have a look at those Zest strategies. Don't get me wrong, Stats is absolutely phenomenal, ridiculously good defensive Protoss player, but copying his style is extremely hard because if you want to play defensively, you have to know so many things, you have to deal with so little scouting information, right? And obviously some players can pull that off, but it's very difficult to do so. Zest likes to go for a lot more timing attacks instead, and I think if you really want to learn some of those crisp timings, you should really have a look at Zest's build orders, because he's a big fan of just hitting the opponent in the face with a lot of stuff at a certain point in the game. And oftentimes timing attacks are just the best way to learn how to play StarCraft in general, because you can compare the point at which you hit in your games together, or you can compare the timing at which you attack to Zest's timing instead. And obviously, if it turns out that you're like 30 seconds late, right, or even more, you should probably be working on your game a little bit more. Anyways, here's that Stargate finishing up. It's gonna be a proxy oracle. Now, of course, this one is only gonna arrive about, I would say, like 5 to 10 seconds earlier than if you would have made that Stargate inside of the main base. Doesn't sound like a huge deal, and I don't think it's really gonna be super impactful here at all, because ByuN already has 2 of those Widow Mines ready to go. But every once in a while, it can catch a Terran player off guard. We'll keep an eye out right here on that Oracle, but honestly, there's already 2 Widow Mines. He's getting a little bit creative right here with the positioning on these as well. I don't really think he's going to be able to get too much done. There's one right here somewhere in that mineral line as well. Now, if he goes to the natural, he can actually get some work in, but the Marines are zoning out. What? Hey, what? Zest! I was hyping up your freaking Oracle. That was some of the worst control on that Oracle that I've seen at this level recently. I don't know what was going on there, but Zest probably was distracted by something, or maybe he didn't think that that Oracle was arriving just yet. Maybe he played himself, actually. Maybe he was a little bit on autopilot there. He's like, okay, Stargate, rally it across the map, and then he may have forgotten a second that he actually built it on the other side. I'm not entirely sure what happened there, but it almost feels like he wasn't going to pay attention to his Oracle until like 2 seconds later. Which makes sense, I guess, if you build it inside of the main. Anyways, he's still got a couple of SCV kills. Obviously, the unit is alive. It can still use a Revelation and all that a little while later. The Marines, in the meantime, decided to load up into a Medivac. But with the Stalkers now inside of the main base, Zest is going to be able to deflect that quite easily. That really shouldn't be happening, though. Having that Oracle just get hit there by a bunch of Marines for basically free. Just a little bit sloppy. The fact that they didn't lose it, though, is super nice, right? Because, indeed, you can hang it in this dead space over here. It's basically surfing the same function as, like, an observer at this point in the game. I mean, obviously, with that Revelation skill, you can still detect cloak units, and it's just very convenient in general. Now, he did decide to add on a warp gate over here as well for some speedy warp-ins, but already there's a third Nexus coming up, and also that Forge is a follow-up, so even though the Blink upgrade is going to finish up pretty soon, I don't think Zest is going to commit to this too hard. Already double Marauder production right here for ByuN as well. He's getting himself a bunker at the front. The classical timing attack can start up very quickly here for ByuN when he finishes up both +1, as well as, of course, that Stimpak upgrade. He might go for the concussive shells here or the combat shields very shortly as well. It's just going to allow him to hit the opponent very, very nicely, relatively early on into the game as well, with a couple of upgrades finishing up at the same time. Now, while those Stalkers are moving across, I think that this Oracle actually, there's a Widow meme. Ooh. Wow, that was very quick. Luckily for him, he did manage to still get into the main base. At the same time, that medevac is still hanging out on the right-hand side. Let's look at the micro right here on these Blink Stalkers. Good control so far here by Zest. At the same time, though, we do see a little bit of, harassment here by both the Raven as well as those Marines inside of that main base. Very difficult to micro all of this at once. Apparently, though, Zest decides, okay, I'm going to go ahead and blink forward. Tons of workers are going down at this point, actually. Both players end up taking a tremendous amount of losses. But generally speaking, right, in these kind of scenarios, it's the player with more bases that comes out ahead, right? Because he can produce 3 workers at once right now over just the 2 that ByuN can make. Now, luckily here, he did get the kill, ByuN, that is, on the forts too, which is really neat. Zealot tanking in a little bit of that damage as well. 2 Marines, sadly for them, did not quite make the hot pickup, but luckily there for ByuN, he did keep that medevac alive. This Raven actually has 5 kills right now as well, which is pretty awesome. Don't usually see a lot of Raven harassment anymore, but can he actually get it? Oh, I think he can. There you go. Nicely done. Good hunting right there by Zest. Realizing the path that that medevac would travel and scouting it out right there with 2 of those Stalkers. Nicely done. Now, obviously, Terran does have mules, which does help out quite a bit with that eco, but at this point, ByuN is in a bit of a strange position. When do you decide to add on the 3rd command center? And do you even go for the 3rd CC? Do you not just go for additional barracks at this point and just try and, close out the game instead? It's going to be kind of tricky to do so, especially against someone of the caliber of Zest. Now, Zest also not really teching up here. No real robo-tech or anything along those lines. He's just going to go for the charge upgrade at this point, which is nice. But additional gateways are coming up here instead. Alright, so here's ByuN. He doesn't actually have that big an army. Yeah, this army is really not that large at all. I'm liking this position for Zest quite a bit, assuming that he can actually hold the counter-attack right now that's going to come up here for ByuN in just a little bit. I mean, ByuN actually doesn't have that big of an army. I don't know if he can actually get that much done. Nice control here. You always want to make sure that you have those Stalkers out on the map. Ooh, that warp in almost finishes. 3 of them do finish at the very least. But you want to have those Stalkers out on the map to try and slow down this Terran push to the best of your abilities. Ooh, there's the 3rd command center finally starting up. But that's pretty late here in comparison to that 3rd of Zest, which is already fully saturated. Alright. Nice little bit of control once again. Those structures in the center of the map will be cleaned up here eventually. Supply-wise, actually, things are still looking quite okay here for Zest. Now, obviously, for ByuN. Now, obviously, in this matchup, usually it is the Protoss player who expands a little bit faster than the Terran. But we are getting into the territory where I feel like ByuN needs to get something done here. It's a lot of Zealots. I actually really love the fact that, like, Stalkers and Zealots these days are, like, really good combat units. Back in the day, you wouldn't really go this many gateways off of this low of a tech. But both Stalkers and Zealots are legit units. And obviously Zealots being super quick these days as well. Very helpful. Now, there are a couple Widow Mines into the mix. And if these Widow Mines can get some damage in, that is going to be pretty nice here for ByuN. He's trying to guide. There you go. Those Zealots over all of those Widow Mines as well. But the Stalkers decide to return back. And they should be able to clean most of this up, I think. I mean, at the very least, push this back. Blink is on cooldown right now. There it is. Oh! Decided to go for the greedy medevac there. Didn't quite have enough Stalkers there, hitting all at once to finish up the medevac, but still quite a bit of damage here has been done. In the meantime, though, the 3rd command center has finished. We do see now finally the tech up towards the Templar Archives. The Robo also is out at this point. Just observers, though, for the time being. Yeah, I love the fact that we have really low-tech armies these days. Like, it used to be a rush to go up to, like, Colossi and getting a couple of those laser boys out as fast as possible. I mean, obviously, they're still good, but you don't really have to get them that early anymore. Now, obviously, these kind of units do require you to micro your army really well, which is easier said than done. We're up to 9 gateways at this point, by the way. 9 zealots all being warped in at once. There's a minefield over here, though. Those zealots are going to have a hard time getting much done, although... Ooh! That was very close. Nice splits, actually, there, once again, by Zest. At the same time, there's also a couple of Stalkers chasing down a few units right over there on the right-hand side. The reinforcing Terran units, though, are way more powerful here than those couple of leftover Stalkers. 2 medevacs do end up falling to the ground as well. 8 SCVs end up going down there as well, but that's... it's not that much. It's not that much. Like, Terran can catch up in that very easily. Love the back and forth so far in this game. Really nice. Alrighty, so here's ByuN. He's now got 67 army supply compared to the 38 right now of his opponent. Apparently, this is the moment where Zest decides to start chrono boosting out that upgrade for the Psionic Storm. I wonder if this isn't just going to be the moment, though, where ByuN decides to just put all of his eggs in one basket and go for an assault, right? He should be able to defend most of this at home with just his reinforcing Terran units. And at this point, this is just a bunch of Stalkers and Sentries. Now, the Sentries do buy some nice time. There you go. Good force fields as well. But there's only, like, I think energy for 1 force field remaining at this point. A couple of Stalkers join in from the back as well. Are there even any High Templar at this point? Yeah, he's going to finish up Storm. Probably didn't anticipate he was going to finish that up in time. But now he doesn't have any High Templar with enough energy to be able to cast that Psionic Storm, which is going to be super critical, I think, in this battle. Still, though, the Super Battery, of course. Always a... Ooh, he's trying to trigger it. ByuN, that is. Always a very menacing force here as well. Great back and forth here, man. The micro on both sides is actually insane. They're still microing this little battle over here, too. Don't know exactly how they're pulling off that much control all at once. Both, of course, very fast players. Oh my god. All of these Terran units have, like, 2 health. Sadly, that medevac is not long for this world. Ugh. Another one just barely escapes. And now, all of a sudden, Zest finds himself in a comfortable spot where he's going to be able to get himself those High Templar out. And once the High Templar have enough energy for Psionic Storm, which is definitely going to be by the time that the next battle happens, the multitasking of ByuN and the micro of ByuN is going to be stretched even more. There's no Ghost Academy, or there is a Ghost Academy, but no Ghost Marauder just yet here for the Terran player. He can actually easily add those on as well, though. So obviously going for the enhanced shockwaves right now too. It's going to allow him to be in a bit of a better position. He didn't actually see the, what's it called? The Templar Archives here at all, so he doesn't know that there's going to be High Templar, but he knows that the odds of that happening are rather big. I mean, against this Marauder heavy of an army, you don't really want to go into Colossi. You could, I guess, go into Disruptors, but... Anyway. The High Templar are all inside of their private plane right now. Gotta be careful. Ooh, there we go. There's the first storm. Second storm as well. Very nice damage here so far. Tons of SCVs are going down as well. Now, for some reason, he started firing down the command center. I don't know if I agree with that. There is now that one Archon joining in the fray too, but tons of SCVs are getting killed by that bad boy really, really quickly. He'll probably fall here eventually. Now, slowly but surely, this Protoss army is being guided over the Widow Mines, but I don't think there's enough remaining at this point for ByuN to hold on. He's got a medevac for every single one of the ground units. And there it is. GG is called in game number 1 as Zest obtains the victory. Should I just do it again? Like the same intro, just to like make up for any loss? Yeah? Okay, here we go. Hello! Maybe I should do it a little bit quieter. Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to a professional match of StarCraft 2. I gotta commentate my StarCraft games as if I'm commentating golf, okay? Cut the music. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to a professional match of StarCraft 2. What I've got for you today is Protoss versus Terran. At this point, we are in game number 2. The Protoss player is currently 1 game ahead on the Terran. Will he be able to bring it home? That's the real question right now. Will he be able to make his brethren from Ire happy? There's a gateway going up right now. In the meantime, on the other side of the map, we have a barracks. This is making me uncomfortable, okay? No, that's not a good idea. I'll turn the music back on, alright? One day I will post an entire video. Like, not even addressing it. I'm just gonna commentate the entire game just like that. I'm not even gonna address it. Someone in the comment section will not be able to figure it out. It's gonna be great. I'm looking forward to that day. Anyhow. No cheekiness in this particular game so far. We'll see what kind of follow-up it's gonna be here from both of these. Now, one engineering bay over here on the low ground. This is not something Zest has seen just yet, so normally you go 20 Cybercore into 20 Nexus as well. Well, at this point he sees, immediately starts up the Zealot, decides to go for the second pylon on the low ground here instead. This is not really a huge deal at this level. I don't think Zest is going to be too bothered by it, but it's one of those things where it's a relatively small investment for Terran, right? I mean, the thing is, you're delaying the command, or sorry, you're delaying the Nexus over here on the low ground for the Protoss player, but you're also delaying your own CC. Because right now he doesn't have the minerals for it yet. Now only is when he can actually plant down that command center. But because he planted the engineering bay over on the other side of the map, I mean, this is really the point at which he starts getting a little bit of value. Eventually, though, with the Zealots slicing and dicing away at the NG bay, that NG bay will be cancelled. It's going to be a relatively small investment, but Zest is going to have an additional Zealot, which isn't going to be super helpful, but I feel like this is one of those builds, if you're a Terran player, that's going to be fantastic on the ladder. Protoss in particular is super rigid when it comes to their build orders and their strategies. So, generally speaking... Ooh, I like this, actually. Ooh, this is actually pretty clever. He did see that there was already a second pylon over here on the low ground. I guess with that Nexus not done, you have to have a third pylon a little bit quicker as well. Anyways, I think this is a really good build to play on the ladder if you're Terran and just, you know, go for those kinds of builds against Protoss players. Because Protoss, in general... not very flexible at all. Like, Protoss can't really catch up very easily. Like, they can't really drop like a supply depot from the high heavens or go for like a second OV as easily as Zerg could. Here's that Adept on the other side. Once again, a proxy Stargate. Maybe this is just Zest's standard build now. Let's hope he's gonna be a little bit more on point with that Oracle this time around. I mean, he doesn't have to go for an Oracle, but probably will be. Jimmy over there gets sliced up as well. And actually, this is now getting quite a lot of damage done. That Zealot really helping out. There's the Oracle. Now, the Oracle actually is a little bit late, so that kind of negates the advantage over here that you have by planting a pylon over on the other side of the map, but it's all good. Twilight Council now has a follow-up, and obviously ByuN has no idea what is going on. He doesn't actually have any defenses this time around for this sort of thing either, because he's already decided to plant down the third command center. It's just gonna be Marines. There's no Widow Mines or anything along those lines because he doesn't have a factory yet. So, let's see. Zest should be able to get quite a bit of value out of this one Oracle here. Is he just gonna go into the main base right away? Nah. Ooh, he wanted to right there. There's some big mind games going on. Yeah, this is real good right now for the Protoss. Now, obviously, though, if ByuN doesn't take a whole lot of damage here, that third command center is going to finish far before Protoss even considers going for a third, right? So, he does scout that there is a third command center right now. He's got a couple options. Either he decides to plant down his third Nexus really quickly here, or he goes balls to the wall right now with that one Blink upgrade that he's getting at a very respectable time. Once again, we see a gateway added on here as well to complete that fast warp-in mechanic. And with that, yeah, this is a very similar build to game number 1. With that Oracle still alive right now, I mean, he's only actually got 2 kills on it. I guess he opened the front door as well for those units to be added in. But anyways. Blink should be able to get some work done, but Stimpack is going to be done rather early as well. Now, there's no Medivac, so every single stim basically kills ByuN's army by like 20%. So you gotta be very careful. But anyways, Blink is gonna finish up here in just a little bit, and I think that Zest might very well commit to an aggressive push. Here's that Oracle coming in for more. I like it. 4 kills in total. Not bad at all. Second bunker at the front, right next to the first bunker. Okay. So Marauder production now coming up too. Is there gonna be enough? Here we go. Looks like the repair router so far on that bunker is fine. But you gotta keep in mind, these stims are very expensive. Like, there's no way to heal these units up at this point. There might be a medevac coming up here after that reactor finishes and after the starport, but those Marines, they're killing themselves very easily here. Every second that goes by, though, ByuN is gonna get further and further ahead with those mules mining, right? Looks like Zest even is gonna go for a bit of a cheeky shield battery push over here, I think. I like that idea. There it is. First shield battery going up. There we go, by the way. He was supply blocked at 69. It's not nice at all. I know what you're thinking. That's very nice. Look, no! Supply block at 69 is not nice. Is he going to be able to pick up this bunker? He will, but I don't know about the second bunker. Oof. This is a crazy game right now. I love this. I think I like this position actually for ByuN more and more right now. I mean, he's going to be able to produce 2 of those medevacs at once. He's dropping all of those orbital commands very nicely. I think that's on purpose though. Like, he's dropping those supply depots, just making use of that extra command center that he built earlier, rather than going for the mules. It's just that Stalkers don't seem to trade very well in straight-up battles, right? So maybe those shield batteries can change the tide of battle. There's another bunker coming up. A couple SCVs are being picked off here all the time as well, actually, which is not to be forgotten. Alright. Constantly blinking back, not really losing any of those Stalkers. Additional shield batteries once again are coming up. We're now up to 6 gateways here with this one finishing up here. Another thing I guess to keep in mind here is that even though ByuN has got a good eco, he's got a lot of SCVs that aren't mining here because they're constantly ready for repair duty. He's picking off a couple of them at once, utilizing that shield regeneration there of the Stalkers, basically blinking back now. He's waited so long though that at this point there is a siege tank out. He could still go into the main base, which may very well be what Zest is looking for, but at that point you're leaving behind the safety right there of those shield batteries. Third Nexus has been planted down right now. Okay. So that means at the very least that Zest has got some sort of transition here behind us as well, if he really wants to. Also love this, actually, going for the Dark Shrine at this point. Pretty clever. ByuN already sniffed that one out, apparently, even though he hasn't seen the Dark Shrine. He's already planting down missile turrets as well because he's got his map hacks, aka game senses. Right now, though, yeah, those shield batteries, like, they're not free, right? They're pretty expensive, so those siege tanks are going to get in range, and they're going to be able to get rid of a lot of this rather easily. Scan right now confirms as well for ByuN that indeed a third CC has been planted down. There we go. There's the stim. And there's that army completely pushed back. Alrighty. Nice defense right there by ByuN. We don't really see him in that situation all too often. We see Maru in that kind of scenario all the time, though, and I'm sure that ByuN is taking notes from Maru's games as well. I'm liking this quite a bit. Picks up even the wicked Marauder there. A really cute bit of micro. But yeah, I think that this is defended at this point. And even though I liked the position for Zest quite a bit earlier, I mean, he killed a lot of SCVs and all that, but those were just simply replaced with new ones. I mean, apparently SCV lives do not really matter that much. Alright. In the meantime, though, a couple zealots here. Once again on the right-hand side of the map. They're going to accidentally spot one of those incoming dropships, which is very helpful. Can definitely get himself a couple units at home. Are there any Dark Templar out yet, by the way? No, none. I mean, I'm assuming he noticed there, right? Like, those zealots did have vision of it, but obviously, even if you have vision, it doesn't necessarily mean that you know exactly where those units are going to be going as well, or you may not have been paying attention to the minimap at that exact time. So right now, that medevac drop is starting to getting quite a bit of work, yeah. Couple defensive Dark Templar warped in. Still an awful lot of probes going down, though. I always feel like even top-level Protoss players are not always on top of their chrono boost. Look at this. This, yeah, that's definitely a mistake, right? Like, he's got, like, I don't know. There's full energy on this Nexus. This one has 38, and that one has, like, 100-something as well. So there's, like, lots of chrono boost energy available at this point here for Zest. If you compare that to Terran players, I mean, he might have some energy right now to have scans saved up, but yeah, there it is. Zest realizes, wait a second, there is absolutely no way that I'm going to be able to break through this. I've just lost a ton of probes at home. I'm going to have to tap out. Yeah? Do I? Really? Again? Alright, alright. Hello, everyone. I wonder, actually, I remember years ago, you may have heard of this small YouTube channel called PewDiePie. He's a tiny YouTuber from Sweden, I believe. Anyways, I remember at some point he used to do a YouTube intro as well. Do people still go in his YouTube comments as well to ask if he can do the intro again? I haven't really paid attention to any of those comments in a very long time, but I wonder if that's a thing. Would not be surprised. People are clinging to the past. Nah, it's okay, man. I'm glad to see so many people. And honestly, like, if you tune in to one of my videos, right, and you hear me shouting right at the very beginning, it's very convenient because right from the get-go, you know that you've gotten to the loudest part in the video, so you can adjust your volume slider accordingly, right? If you actually go back to some of my very early StarCraft casts, the intro was very different. At some point, it was even something along the lines of, hello, everyone. Like, there was like a little hello, everyone. It got more and more ridiculous over time, guys. I do love to see the, or I do like seeing the passion, though, for the intro. I should make a shirt saying, hello, everyone, my name is... ... Anyone interested in that? I could definitely make some merch for that if you're interested. Once the world opens back up and we're going to be able to go to events, that would be pretty neat. Meeting people with, with those shirts. That would be awesome. Anyway. Little bit of pesky little probing over here by that Do you think that's why they're called probes? Because they... Oh, I never even considered that. Maybe. Next is on the low ground right here, though, by Zest. This time around, didn't decide to go for the wall over here. Kind of curious. I guess in this particular series, there hasn't been that much trouble with Reapers anyway. Even though ByuN, of course, is very well known for his Reaper shenanigans and his Reaper control. He's not really showing us any of that, that aggression. Just using them really for scouting at this point. No Adept this time. Just going straight into the Stalker, but that should be okay. This map has a relatively long rush distance. So you don't really need to get the Adept out super early. This time around, once more a Stargate, but this one will be at home. Very similar build so far in this series, I guess, right? Like, different commitments and different levels of commitment, but... It's a Pokemon in the tall grass. You find a man with a jetpack. Do you think it's gonna be nice and comfortable to wear a jetpack like that? Do you think he burns up the hair on his calves when he flies around like that? Doesn't seem safe, dude. I don't know how this made it through the inspection. Like, I'm assuming there's any inspection for Terran units. Probably not. They explode all over the place, man. Must be kind of nice if you have a jetpack to just like hang there. Like, look, this guy's just chilling right now inside of the jetpack, right? He's just floating. It's pretty neat. Must be pretty cool. I don't want flying cars, okay? I know a lot of people are like, oh yeah, flying car. No, jetpacks. That'd be awesome. Also incredibly unsafe, but awesome. Twilight Council coming up after the Stargate. Who's surprised? Not me. Oracle finally came out of the Stargate as well. That one will be spotted right away by the Reaper. And you can see that Zest has decided, okay, you know what? That guy in the jetpack, screw that dude. I'm gonna go ahead and just zap him out of, well, I guess the sky. Does that count? Like, Reapers are technically not flying units, but they should be. Should missile turrets be able to attack? Like, should spore crawlers be able to attack Reapers? Let me know down below in the comment section. What I'm trying to say is that my science fiction video game is not realistic, and it upsets me. Imagine that. Vipers wouldn't be able to abduct anything anymore. Like, for example, when two Vipers abduct each other, right? Which happens every once in a while in a Zerg versus Zerg. They don't meet in the center, but instead they change positions. That just doesn't make any sense, because if they're pulling each other, they should meet in the center and smack against each other, right? There's a lot of weird inconsistencies. Blizzard! Anyways, here's that oddly positioned Widowmine. ByuN is doing some 700 IQ Widowmine positions in this game so far. He sees the pylon. Zest doesn't see the Widowmine, though. Well, he's gonna find out. Poof. Could just go ahead and kill it, but honestly, sometimes you're better off not killing it, right? If you think you're gonna be fine against the units here, it's a pretty good position. Plus, on this map, you have some really powerful siege tank spots that will happen to hit like that jump up pad right over there in the back too. I don't think Zest is really gonna commit there now. He decided to plant down the third command center, or sorry, the third nexus, significantly earlier. Oh, by the way, guys, since like we have obviously a best of 5 series, right? There's definitely gonna be at least one more game, so we have at least one more intro. That'd be good. That Stalker apparently got sacrificed. Since there's already 2 siege tanks though, I don't think that, yeah, you can really go in here. Nah, it's not gonna happen. ByuN's looking really solid actually as far as defensive play goes. Yeah, he realized it right now as well. He's like, wait a second. I've just gotten a couple of those Stalkers basically for free. I can just load up a couple of the boys into a medivac and go across the map. I don't mind that idea at all. Do you think there's medics working inside of the medivac? Or do you think it's a magical thing inside of the medivac? I'm not sure. So many questions, man. These kind of things keep me awake at night. Why can Stargates not warp in units in the same way that gateways can? Makes no sense. Why do they have to wait before they actually, like, should you not be able to like warp in Void Rays over here? ByuN decided it was time to push out of his natural, try and stress the multitasking right here of his opponent. So he's gonna go after those Stalkers while simultaneously also hitting the main base here. There's really not that many units here available for defense just yet, but obviously Blink is done and he's very good at that control. At the same time, ByuN is still pushing back that main army of Stalkers as well. 8 probes go down. He's just target firing it, yeah. He's just giving up on this group of Marines, man. These are men with a mission. It's kind of sad, but they're sacrificial lambs for the good of the Terran Dominion, and that's 17 probes going down. Those units, in the meantime, have pushed so far that they have now arrived at the 3rd base of Zest. The siege tanks, though, got loaded into the medevac, so they're at the very least going to be able to get on out of here. The Marauders are like, wait for me, guys! Come on now! Don't leave me alone. They're going to be able to catch up with these medevacs here eventually. So he will be able to keep those alive. But once again, good moves here by, yeah, the South Korean Terran. Really good. It feels like ByuN has been in the driver's seat of this game here. Like in all of these games, really. Even though game number 2 was a little dicey there for a bit, he's looking significantly better here in these games so far than Zest. Only just now is when a freaking missile turret goes up. He's so late with that static defense, but really trying to squeeze every single advantage out of this. Look at the resources here as well by Zest. He's got tons of money. Guess he can warp in some zealots, but here we go. He decided to blink on top of those siege tanks. Gonna be able to pick those off relatively easily, but the Marauders are still... actually, that one siege tank over there is still alive too, but those Marauders are not messing around. Zealots do close the distance, and since the 3rd CC was planted on location... Oh, I love this here for Zest. He's gonna be able to force the council right there on that command center. Okay, now this becomes a bit of a problem here. ByuN is fine as far as the amount of workers and whatnot goes, but he's already oversaturating his bases because those mineral patches are starting to run out. Zest hasn't really added on a whole lot of probes until just now. He probably didn't anticipate he was going to be able to get the kill on the 3rd, so he realized, wait a second. Now, right now, I might be able to, like, work myself back into a macro game here. High-level PvT is actually so insane. Gets another medevac. That's quite a few medevacs going down. Actually, it's only 2 in this game. I feel like in this series in general, he's been really on point, sniping down those medevacs. There's a puppy. Did you know the puppies are not targetable? I think I may have mentioned this like a dozen times so far in any of my videos, but... Look, I love it, okay? All the other critters in the game are targetable, so you can accidentally kill them, right? Or you can no, not accidentally. You can kill them whenever you like. The puppies, you can't. Although they still die if you use some sort of splash damage. Don't ask me how I know. It was a sad day, okay? I don't want to talk about it. So once again, Stalkers into Zealots into Storm here from the South Korean Protoss. Not a single Colossus has actually entered the battlefield so far. No Disruptors, none of that. I remember one of the goals that Blizzard had with one of the more recent balance changes, right? One of the significant ones is that they said they wanted to see more robo-tech. But I guess that failed, huh? I mean, turns out if you make Zealots better units, people will stick on Zealots significantly longer. It makes perfect sense. If you already have the Twilight Council, right, you may as well go into the Storm upgrade first. Storm is extremely good. There's once again the Enhanced Shockwaves ability. It's basically a, well, both a ranged as well as like a radius improvement for the Ghost. I mean, The range being an indirect result of it. But it's very helpful. I actually think EMP is one of the most powerful abilities in the game, but no one actually ever complains about it, which is kind of funny. I think the main reason for that is that, like, Parasitic Bomb and Psionic Storm and all that are very fancy animations. You know that it's dealing a lot of damage. But, like, EMP, right? The Ghost spell. For those of you unfamiliar, basically it removes energy and shields out of units. So it's that middle spell right over here in the bottom right-hand corner. It's extremely good against Protoss. Like, if you manage to land an EMP on those High Templar, they're not going to be able to cast Storms anymore. Plus, all the other units, like, lose their shields. It's one of the most powerful spells in the game. Yet, no one ever complains about it. I really think that's because of the animation. The animation is just not as fancy. As fancy looking, that is. Anyways, ooh, massive storms. Ooh, huge storms go down. Uncharacteristically sloppy control right there by ByuN. And there I go, the EMPs. You see them? There's another EMP. It's gonna force his entire Protoss army right now to retreat. I guess the main reason why people don't really complain about it as much is because of the fact that it only, you know, it hurts the shields, not the actual base units. So it's phenomenal against units like Archons that have, you know, 200 or what is it, 250 shields and 10 health. But obviously every single Protoss unit has some sort of shield, so you can make every single Protoss army a little bit weaker as long as you just blanket those storms all over them. Or sorry, those EMPs all over them. I guess at the same time, High Templar do also have that other ability of theirs called Feedback, where they can remove the energy out of High Templar. A little bit more difficult though to pull off. Okay, Zest trying to hit his opponent at multiple different angles here. He's setting up though. Look at the amount of zealots here. This looks like the legacy of the Void Cinematic. Where they warp in a gajillion zealots and they're waiting, you know, for their turn to fight. Today, we retake our homeland! And with it, our honors. Dude, that's a lot of zealots. How many zealots are we at right now? 32. Massive storms once again go down. There's the EMPs moving forward. Well, the ghost, that is. And still, like, I love these two supply depots over here, actually. They're really forcing all of those zealots to funnel through. And actually, you know what? That Protoss army is very quickly going down. I think there may have been a bit of a fight on the other side of the map as well. Zest is now half the supply of ByuN. And even though it looked like a dire scenario there for the Terran player, he showcased some very nice control and kept the majority of his units alive. Hello everyone, welcome. It's time for game number 4 in this best of 5 series. We find ourselves on the map Oxide. Now, do you think I should do the same thing as is common in like online tournaments where we introduce the players every single map? So spawning here in the top right hand corner of Oxide, we have none other than, you may have guessed it, it's the same guy as from the last game. His name is Zest. Whoa, I know. Mind-boggling. His opponent in the opposite corner with the red Terran SCVs, he goes by the name of ByuN. ByuN. Now ByuN, has decided that he's gonna plan down a command, or sorry, not a command, well, I'm assuming it's not a command center. I think it's gonna be a barracks, there it is. On the other side of the map. Little bit of cheekiness over here. Could be some Reaper shenanigans. Zest has decided that apparently he wants to scout here with a probe, so that's really nice for him. If he goes around here, he will find that barracks very oh no. That's unfortunate. I guess if it's gonna be like a Reaper cheese, the most likely location is right over here. It's gonna be double gas right now as a follow-up here from ByuN. Is Zest really gonna go? Oh, he's gonna go Nexus first. Normally you go 20 Cybercore and then Nexus. He decided to go 20 Nexus here instead. That is a little bit greedy. So that Cybercore is gonna be very late. Now there's a tech lab coming up here in the meantime on the barracks. So, I guess some Marauder shenanigans over here by ByuN. I actually kind of like that. There it is. ByuN decides to go for a proxy barracks into a tech lab, into concussive shells and Marauders. Now, in case you're unfamiliar, concussive shells... Oh, no. Zest is once again thinking about proxying a freaking Stargate, I think. This is a problem right now for the pros player for sure. He doesn't have enough defenses to deal with this, right? Like he's not gonna be able to go for a like he's gonna be able to go for a, oh god, he goes to Stalker as well. That's real rough. Yeah, I don't know what he could do. So for those of you unfamiliar, Concussive Show, it's basically a slow. Every single attack that the Marauder does will slow the unit that it's attacking. Love the fact that there's an SCV over here as well, and there's a Stargate indeed coming up once more by Zest, who's really fond apparently of going for a Stargate, but I want to see how he defends against this. There's one SCV here as well to soak up a couple of shots potentially. Could even build a bunker if you really want to. But I think that this is the ideal scenario at this point here for ByuN. He's going to come marching up that ramp, and there's going to be literally one Stalker. It's going to be hit. There it is. Yeah. And that's the Stalker dead. Oh, my God. Insta GG. That is one cheeky timing attack right there by the Korean Terran player. Or should I actually say, a zesty timing attack. All right, I'll be here all week. If you haven't already, hit that like button down below. If you want to see more, hit that subscribe button. But for now, I want to thank you for watching. Have an awesome day. Don't forget to smile, and I'll see you once again in the next one.